Howdy, everybody, and welcome to Random Rhapsody's Æther-Shanties. I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and game master for the SAGAS campaign, and joining me around my virtual table tonight are Alyssa, Joe, KOINES, Nico, and Nobody. Say hi, everyone.
Howdy.
They're so good at that. Now, before we begin, we do have a few announcements to get through, starting with a word from our sponsor for this campaign, SAGAS. SAGAS stands for Setting and Genre Agnostic System, and was created by okayest RPGs. SAGAS is a universal rules-light TTRPG designed to help you easily tell your stories in any world imaginable. You can create your character and choose from over 100 unique features to build a unique and interesting character every single time. SAGAS also promotes helping allies over helping yourself and encourages teamwork to succeed in challenges. Using the smooth and fast combo rules, you can describe epic team combos that you can use in combat to take down your foes. In any setting, SAGAS has provided a smooth integration of rules to create a unique framework to help you create your adventures. SAGAS uses a checks-based roll-under resolution system, which is unique to most TTRPG systems. Your character features can change the size of the dice you roll, and your allies can help by giving you more dice, improving your chances to get the lowest possible number. There is a free 35-page SAGAS playtest, which is now available on DriveThruRPG, and the Kickstarter for SAGAS is now live. You can find the link for that in the chat and the show descriptions. This week on Random Rhapsody, we have another episode of Sonnet of Blood, our Curse of Strahd campaign, this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central. The team has just finished defeating the hags at the windmill and are probably pretty freaking tired. So, but they have successfully saved their ward Davos. So that's always good. Now,
if you watch that, Cog was right. Saying anything, but saying.
Who's Cog?
I don't know. He's some guy that was right in another campaign.
Never heard of him.
Maybe. But
Our
anyway.
cost of goods.
Now, you can keep up to date on our schedule and everything we do here on the network by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV, on Twitter as @random_Rhapsody, and on Blue Sky as Random Rhapsody. And that's going to do it for the announcements. So join us as we return to the world of Loroupa and join a new group of heroes and their Æther-Shanties. we're back. So, for this campaign, we are offering up the Random Rhapsody coin to whomever gives the recap of our previous session. If they do the recap, then they can turn in that coin for one free reroll, which is pretty useful. If I do the recap, I get the coin, and I get to use it in all manner of different ways to hinder our team's progress. And no one really wants me to have that. So, with that in mind...
Don't let Matt have it. Don't.
Yes, no, don't. Don't. You really shouldn't. But with that in mind, who's going to be doing the recap this week? Okay.
Pale ghosty face over here.
Okay. Well, Lark, go ahead and tell us what happened last time on Æther-Shanties.
So last time we got introduced to a interesting bunch of characters who are on their way to their first assignment, I guess. We've got a rather, well, he thinks he's charismatic.
Shots fired.
But very pretty boy. And then we've got a very interesting, if slightly awkward, textured person. We've got a little, very enthusiastic, sticky-fingered goblin. And then, of course, there's me. Usually kind of quiet in the background, but that's okay. And I have a feeling we're going to be meeting some more friends. Just a slight feeling. But we're on our way in the carriage on to, is it to boot camp or from boot camp, Matt?
You're leaving from boot camp, and you've just arrived in the town.
To our first assignment.
Yep.
Correct.
Indeed.
Yep. And I think we were just about to, or was just in the process of meeting our new commander?
Well,
Captain? I'm bad with roles of that kind.
Well, that's
Those aren't the kind of roles I'm familiar with.
That's okay. I mean, you did just get out of boot camp and all that. But
no,
anyway,
I'm fresh. I'm a little greeny. I don't know the hierarchy.
Yeah, no, that's valid. Well, there you go. There's the Random Rhapsody coin. Now, don't forget to use it. It only lasts this session. Well, everybody. Dreezy, Lark, Skarn, and Zolos. The four of you are now standing just off from the center of town, next to the large stable that your carriage driver is currently walking his horses toward. It's just about midday, and the village itself is bustling with people moving about their daily affairs. You can hear the large saw of the mill going at high speed, grinding away. The entire area just smells of sawdust. And, the animal parts that we're not really going to discuss. But as you're standing there, there's this kind of moment where you're not quite sure what it is to do with yourself. I mean, you got down out of the wagon, you're supposed to be meeting up with your commanding officer, but you're not quite sure where they are or where the barracks might be. So you just kind of stand there against the building, just kind of looking around for a moment. Fortunately, you are all saved from that worry when an individual approaches you all. Dr. Ezra Bloom, would you be so kind as to describe for us what the four of them see as you approach?
So, walking towards you, you'll see this very
overly fluffed owlin. Think great horned owl, grumpy dad, grumpy space dad energy. I have fluffy little tufts. I wear an ivory ascot. I seem kind of like stuffy and a bit grouchy. I'm trying to like rein in my grumpiness as I'm walking towards you, trying to smile, but I'm really like awkward and unsure. I've already had the chance to be in the town the day before, and I'm already a little overwhelmed with all the people. I'm not sure what to do. So I approach the four of you, hoping that my assumption is correct and we are all going to be part of the same crew very shortly. Hi, everybody.
You see this large owl folk being walking up, kind of waving an arm towards you as they approach. Now, Dr. Bloom, like you said, you had arrived in Manos a day earlier than the rest of the squad. So you've had some time to, get the lay of the land, meet the garrison command staff, check out the barracks, and so on. You were sent into the village by Captain Elmromer, who is the base commander, to retrieve the rest of your squad, who are due to arrive today. So you've been waiting here in the village square by the stables, just kind of waiting there for somebody to arrive. You saw the four of them get out of the carriage, screw with the driver for a little bit, and you can all now see them standing there looking about as though they're not quite sure what to do. So once your eyes lay on them, it's fairly easy to see, to kind of reason out that this is probably that new group of guards that you're waiting for. So, it sounds like, Ezra, that you're kind of approaching them, waving, being inviting in a way. So the rest of you all, you would see this. How do you react?
I think Zolos is probably aware that a big-ass owl just walked up. But then he just probably catches sight of maybe a bucket of water, like a window, catches his own reflection, and just kind of starts staring at himself a little bit more. He's like, oh, you were saying something. I am sorry. I was totally enraptured. And he just looks off at himself and just completely forgets you're there.
Joe once again makes a character that I just want to
slap. Yeah.
Right, just on the back side of the head. Just a little tap,
That's valid. Hey, Lark and Zolos are going to be best friends. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's just going to happen now.
Sure.
Well, and anyway,
I wave. But also kind of don't know what's next. Don't know who this person is. It's just hi.
They also look back. I think their eyes go a little wider. Is this right? Are we sure that this is correct?
Dreezy is looking down at some little nuts and bolts and stuff in his hand, and wishing they were gold coins. And he just looks and oh, pretty bird. Yeah, you're with us.
I hope so. Are we all going to the barracks together? Are we squad?
I'm famished. Let's get some grub.
Yeah, are we in a squad together? Are you our commanding officer? We were sent to meet a commanding officer. We don't know who we're looking for. Well, we do, but we only have a name. We don't know who to look for. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I'm actually not your commanding officer. I promise you that. I would sincerely hope they're not as awkward as I am. Hi, I'm Dr. Ezra Bloom. They sent me, I guess they're very busy at the barracks, to come fetch you. They gave me names, but also did not describe what any of you looked like. So I've just been waiting here, hoping that I'd run into a group of 4 people who look like they're probably part of my hopefully future squad. So hi. Do we wanna head over to the barracks? I could show you the way.
Sounds
I mean,
good.
that would be great, yeah. You said they're really busy. That sounds great also, because I was kind of worried, if I'm honest, that we were just going to be looking at the woods for the next 2 years, and so if there's stuff to do, that's great.
I would also love stuff to do.
Do you not have anything to do?
This is the thing I was supposed to do. When
Oh,
we go there, hopefully there'll be more things to do. There's
Right.
only one way to find out, really.
just like a one step at a time kind of. No big picture. Everyone's kind of got their little micro. Okay, yeah, right. Yes.
Okay.
This way?
This way.
So after a moments of awkward pause, Ezra, you do remember that the captain did tell you to take them back to the barracks, but also kind of show them around town a little bit where various places are. It's not a big village. It's really not. There's a decent-sized wall around the entirety of the area, but inside it's not too big. It's almost like a fort in a very small way, though there's no like castle or anything like that. The woods are dangerous. There's a lot of things out there, and being that this is a logging community, their purpose is taking trees from the nearby woods, which can be very dangerous. So you do know that part of your responsibilities just here in Manos is going to be defending the town from anything that might, not be too thrilled about the fact that the forest is being slowly cut down. What it is, right? But at least the town or the village does do reforestation as well. Like they're not just taking trees; they are replanting it. This is a kingdom of the Fae, so they are in tune with nature. But even with all that, things don't like it when their homes get taken down. So occasionally monsters attack. It's just what it is. So, Dr. Bloom, you begin walking the group around the town in a bit of a small semicircle as you lead towards the barracks. You point out places like the warehouse district where the mill is and the wood processing and the shipping areas. You show everyone the tavern, which is really the only source of entertainment in the village whatsoever. But there's a few shops as well. There's the potters, there's the blacksmith, there's the general goods store. You show them the 3 gates that go into and out of town, and kind of just explain what little you have seen in the span of the day that you've been here. Eventually, your group head back over to the barracks, which is a large, kind of oddly shaped building. It's got 2 levels, but the first level is the first area is a ground floor that's connected to a stable, and then above the stable there is the actual barracks where all of the guards sleep at. You've been shown around previously, so you would see that what the heck? My map just went weird. Can anybody see the map, or is it all green for you?
The map
I can see it.
I can see it.
readjusts.
Yeah,
see
it's
it.
weird on my end for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Scroll.
reload.
Oh.
Okay,
Mysterious.
there it goes. I just had to reload it.
It's just making sure that we're all paying attention. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. Okay, now you should be able to see the actual barracks
Oh,
map.
yeah, I guess I'm on
Ah.
a different map. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, before I was at the tavern. Now
Yeah,
I'm-
now you're
okay.
at the right one. Anyway,
Cool
so
beans.
So the structure itself, like I said, on the ground floor there is 2 areas, the actual guard station and then a stables that's adjacent to that. And then above the stables, that's where all the guards sleep. Ezra, you've been here already, so you got a little bit of a little bit of time to explore. You know that in the upper area there are 3 different sections to the barracks itself. There's the room where the senior staff sleep in. There's the room where the non-coms of the different guard groups stay in, and then there's just the general barracks where all of you grunts sleep in. That one is pretty freaking tight. Like, it's just full of bunk beds with some foot lockers underneath them. It fits 24, and other than your squad, there was like 4 empty beds. It was pretty dang full when you were there. Now, last night, one squadron was sent out on patrol, so their beds are open right now, but you would know which ones are and which ones aren't occupied. So you're kind of telling the group a little bit about that sort of thing as you approach. Now, during that time, you also had a little bit of time to talk about your group's strengths and weaknesses and how all of you would kind of be working together as the squadron. Now, Dr. Ezra, since you are new to the team, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what your struggles and traits and abilities are?
And do. Well, the good doctor. In terms of traits, as you can see, I'm a giant owl, which means I have wings. And these very big eyes of mine are very good at night vision. In terms of struggles, I am also incredibly hesitant. So my reaction time is a little lacking, so I have a really difficult time sleeping during daytime hours. Adjusting to this different sleep schedule is very difficult for me. In terms of my abilities, my talents, I am very good at investigating things. I really enjoy like searching my surroundings and like finding out different things about wherever we are, which is why I can provide all of these random neat little things that I found out about the barracks, about where we're sleeping, the exact, like the best spot, which is the warmest, all these different things. I also am good at disease healing because, and as well as healing wounds, because I went to go study that before I showed up to, become a guard.
Absolutely. Conscription kind of sucks. Is that sometimes they'll wait to grab you, but in Jura, they always end up getting you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, as you all approach, you are led into the ground floor of the barracks, which opens up into a small reception area that leads further on back into the main area. Ezra, you're leading the way as you all enter in, and as your group begins looking about, you see a cozy, if functional, guard area to your to the eastern side of the area of the barracks. There is your standard cells. Every town has to have a small jail, and that's where theirs is. Three cells with a secure holding area in front of it. In the main area itself, there's a common room with a table and quite a few chairs. You can all see that the weapons locker is also behind bars and clearly locked, but they're invisible for use. You can see that there is a staircase leading up to the second floor, and as you all enter into the room and look around from those stairs, you see the figure of a dragonkin stepping down towards you. Now, Ezra, you would recognize this individual immediately. Their name is Veramax, and they are the sergeant who is in charge of your particular unit. You were introduced to them yesterday. Their pronouns are they, them. They are a dragonkin, like I said, with dark gray scales and opalescent hair coming out from their head. They have fins for ears and a long tail that has a spike at the end of it. They do not have wings or anything like that. They are a dragonkin. If you're a 5th edition player, you'd think of a dragonborn, but basically the same thing. They see you as you're walking in, and they step down, and you hear their voice call out, this must be our new group of recruits. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you all here. Dr. Bloom, thank you for going and retrieving them for us.
Can do. Happy to.
The dragonkin steps towards you all and says, "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Sergeant Veramax. I am your squadron leader. The barracks commander is Captain Elmromer. I will go and retrieve them. They are currently doing a little bit of planning, but they will want to speak to you themselves. So, all of you, snap into attention!"
Yeah, not even a question for Skarn. Their dad was a commander, so this has been beaten into them from the time they were a kid.
Does anybody not snap into attention, is my question.
Oh yeah, I'm just like looking down at little trinkets in my pouch, be like, yeah.
You there.
I think Zolos probably isn't either. He's as sassy as he can be at attention, but he's not at attention like Zarn's going to be at attention.
Lefaria sees what Skarn does and like goes, "Oh, that's what that means," and then like copies them.
Okay, so the three of you line up, get into a standing attention while the goblin and the Triton are just kind of absently staring off at random shit. Yeah, the sergeant walks over to the two of you, looks between each of you, and there's just this dark leer as they kind of get right in your face. What is your name?
Well, you're welcome. First of all, I'm here. My name's Zolos. How are you? I forgot your name already. What was it again?
You will refer to me as Sergeant Veramax. And you will step into that line and get into attention immediately, or you will be spending the evening in the brig.
And I guess they're right up in his face?
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you wanted a closer look, you could have just asked. But, see you later. And he'll just kind of step back, just kind of give a little wink as he does. Just be like, I see the vibe you're putting down. But I'm happy to be here. I mean, yeah, this is going to be a great time. We're all going to enjoy this, I promise.
They have already moved past you and is staring directly down at the goblin and absolutely doing a little bit of that intimidating leer downward towards you, like looming over you. And your name?
Whoa! It's Dreezy Boomy, and the F is for fashion. Check this out. And he shows him like that he's taken the uniform and like tied it in a knot, and it's like draped around his shoulders like a cape. He puts his hands on his hips and like does this kind of like Superman pose.
Oh shit!
Get yourself into that line immediately.
We're gonna have so much fun, Coins.
I gotta make a roll.
You do. This is going to be a D12, and I believe the DC is a 5.
That's a 9. Yeah. How do I put in the DC?
Usually there's
when you
a
make the
toggle
check,
for that.
it does ask.
Oh, make a
Yeah.
check. Okay, I see. I forgot that was there. Okay, but yeah, I rolled a 9, so that's probably a failure.
So that is a failure. So what are you going to do?
Make a check.
You have a problem with authority,
If it's-
so if you're given a command, you must resist the command.
Okay, yeah. I just have my hands on my hips and I like stick my tongue out and go.
Okay, so the Dragonborn is going to attempt to pick you up. Like, they just reach down and try to grab at you. So what I need you to do is you're going to be making a roll to... It's called roll to dodge, I think. Hold on a second. Okay. Trying to remember the exact name for this.
I think it's like a void or dodge or something.
Yeah, it's like a void. But anyway, you're going to be making... Basically, you're going to have to... You're trying to dodge them grabbing onto you. So you're going to be making this with a D10, unless you have something to increase this. And you need to roll... You need to roll a 5 or better.
That's an 8.
Oof. So yeah, you are immediately grabbed by the dragonkin, lifted up, and you both get eye level with one another. Chat can't see the rolls. That's annoying. Let me see if I can fix that.
Well, that's weird.
There we go.
It's always done it for.
Yeah, no, it just it was minimized. There we go.
I got you.
Anyway, so the Dragonkin looks up at you, scowls as they look directly into your eyes, and she says, "We do not deal with your type here. You will stand at attention and do as you're told, or you will be in the brig faster than you can blink. This sort of behavior should have been beaten out of you back in basic." And they drop you into line next to Skarn.
Oof. All right. Don't get rough. Yep.
Varamax
He does, like, a
scowls.
little-
Absolutely. Varamax scowls at you once again, but then turns and walks over to the door to the western side of the room. They open it and step through. You have about a moment by yourselves if anybody wants to do anything. If not, then if you're just waiting there, then I'll bring the captain out. Okay.
You know, I'm really curious. I would have thought the first 3 times they did that back in boot camp would have taught. I mean, how come you keep doing that?
It's all right, little green bean. I got your back on this one, buddy. Don't you worry about nothing. You keep being you.
Every time I get flustered and I don't know where to put my hands, and
If you like, sweetheart, you can put your hands on me. Everybody does.
no, thank you.
Is
I
there a
don't mean
reason
like
for
that. I don't mean like that. It doesn't have to be dirty. They just want to be near me. Touch greatness, so to speak.
I'm just gonna kind of like scooch a little bit more towards the doctor. Just be like,
Nah, don't you worry. We're gonna be
Safe,
friends.
okay.
Ezra just straightens up even more and gets like fluffier.
What's up, Hooter?
Wider. So,
People used to ask to touch me, but I think that was mostly because I thought I was a statue and not a real person.
Oh, speak your truth. Speak your truth. You just gotta be who you want to be.
It's not really a matter of wanting to be. I can't. It just sort of looks down at itself.
You can be whatever you want to be, Stretch. You remember that. Oh, yeah.
I don't think made of meat is usually included on that list.
Get used to it. This is what you're gonna get. It's like, you alright down there, Green Bean?
You know it. Don't touch me.
I'm down here, brother. I didn't touch you. I thought that was pretty rude that the general just picked you up like that.
Yeah. General's always getting up in my biz, you know?
God damn it, Coins, we're gonna have so much fun.
You know what? Okay.
So, where'd old Silver Spikes go?
Well, speaking of old silver spikes, they are walking through the door here to the west, along with, well, the person who's coming behind them fills the doorway and then some. At first, what you see is a humanoid-looking individual. They present masculine. They have short-cropped silver hair and the biggest military-style mustache you have ever seen. It is big, it is bushy, it is long. It's like Hercule Poirot, and then some. However, the humanoid part about them kind of end at the waist, and from that point on, you see nothing but horse as a centaur walks through the door, clopping towards you. As
Nice
you...
clops.
Thank you. The centaur looks at you all. He has one of those military batons tucked up underneath his armpit. He has... What's up?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just everything on my desktop just shut down. So
Oh,
hold
that's
on.
not good. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Keep going. I can still hear you.
Okay.
I'm listening.
As long as
I'm
you can
just
still hear me.
Dealing with tech. Yeah.
Well, as I was saying, they have that that military baton tucked up under one armpit, and in the other arm, they're holding what appears to be folders filled with paper. The centaur walks towards you all with the sergeant in tow. The sergeant comes over and stands just a few feet away, looking at you all with their arms crossed as the centaur walks towards you. He says in this big old gruff voice, "Welcome to Manos. I am Captain Belvin Elmromer, and I am your commanding officer. You will address me as either Captain or Sir. You will find me to be a hard but fair officer while you are assigned to this militia. I believe in Jura's core principles of equality in all of its citizens, and I do not care where you are from, what your ancestry is, or how you define yourself, or your gender, or what you did before conscription. All that matters to me is your commitment to citizenship and the manner in which you conduct yourself in your duties. And as he's saying this, he's like just kind of walking up and down the line of you all, just clopping horse hooves on stone back and forth while he's talking. Does anybody want me to pause to react?
Nah, I think at this point Zolos spotted like a brazier on the wall by the door, and he sees his reflection, so he's just kind of tilted his head a little bit and just smiling a little. Completely not listening.
I'm gonna have to roll to resist authority again.
Yeah, you are.
What's the DC?
I think for this one, we're gonna say probably, like, you've been intimidated a little bit, so we're gonna say it's a 6.
A 5. All right.
Ooh.
Dreezy's gonna stand up like extra straight until he goes, "Yes, sir!"
The captain nods to you as you say that. He does continue. From this moment forward, each of you are charged with the defense of this town, to protect its inhabitants from danger, and to enforce all laws, rules, and procedures therein. Your rank, as you know, is private. Do not let this fact detour you from your duty. All citizens of Jura once served as you do now, and everyone knows and recognizes your authority in this capacity. Manos is a peaceful town, far removed from the hustle and bustle of the city. You'll find that much of your duties will consist of patrolling, defending the outskirts from monsters when they come too close, and keeping peace within the village itself. Some days may be more monotonous than others, but don't let yourself become complacent. Advancement in the military is purely on a merit-based system, so I don't want any slacking out there. Do you hear me? And he snaps forward,
Yes, sir!
looking for exactly that. Okay. Well, I've left everybody speechless. Perfect. The captain then turns and looks to you all. Sergeant Veramax will see you to the barracks and assign you your bunks. They will then take you out on your first patrol after seeing to your equipment. Dinner is promptly at 7. So we expect you back by then. But for today, and the centaur stomps their hooves together and kind of stands forward in his own military attention, and then he says, "As captain of this barracks, I salute you." He snaps forward a sharp salute.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Instant. Commanding officer salutes you. You got to do it back.
I think Zolos would have paid attention when he hears the goblin scream out, "Sir, yes, sir," again. And when he salutes, he's gonna be like, it's got all kinds of, sassiness to it. But he does the salute,
Hmm. The captain then turns towards the sergeant, gives him a look, and then hands over the paperwork that he was carrying. He says, "Sergeant, carry on with your duties." And then he turns and begins making his way back to his office. The sergeant, after receiving the papers, comes over to you all and stands in front of you. They say, "All right. You heard the captain. Up the stairs, down the hall, last door on your left. Move it, soldiers, move it." And they kind of clap their hands together loudly and points to the staircase. So, Boomy, another time for an authority roll.
Let's do it.
I feel like this is going to be a little bit harder because you're not a fan of the sergeant. So let's make the DC a 5.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, that captain really scared me. Okay. Sir, yes, sir. Let's do it.
Does everybody follow?
I think Skarn's going to take a step forward. Permission to speak, sir.
Oh, yes. And they kind of look down at the files and says, Skarn, Private Skarn, what can I do for you?
Before going upstairs, I just wanted to make sure the floor is graded, sir. I weigh about 600 pounds and would prefer not to fall through it.
Well, fortunately, this building is made out of stone and has been fortified for, defensive necessity. You should be able to be up there just fine.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Carry on, Private. You all make your way single file, most likely Zolos last, up the stairs and to the last door on the left, which is the barracks. You see a very tight and cramped area. As Dr. Bloom said, it is filled with bunk beds. Skarn, as you all step inside, the sergeant does say, for safety's sake, you will be required to be on the bottom bunk.
I had assumed as much.
There are two towards the back of the barracks where you are shown to be available. Ezra, yours is either the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. In front of him, right here. You are shown an area where you have a foot locker that you can place any belongings you might have brought with you. And as you take this moment to get yourself settled and make up your bed and that sort of thing, the sergeant disappears for a moment after telling you all that they are going to go and procure your armaments. So you're left alone for a little bit of time. Do you have anything you wish to discuss before you begin your first tour of duty?
I'm gonna go pick out a bed and sit there and take some little bits of copper wire I have in my pack and start making a little sculpture that looks like the captain or the sergeant. I mean.
Okay, interesting. Do you have a skill that works that is crafting or anything like that?
I have repair and explosives crafting.
Okay. Well, I'll allow you to. I would say that repair doesn't quite work as much, but you know what? I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to allow it. So why don't you go ahead and roll a D8? You're aiming for a 6 or higher.
Hey, Coins. Chad is asking how tall is Boomy?
3 feet tall. Normal goblin height.
So technically you are slightly shorter than Lark.
Just slightly.
Yep. Sorry, what was the DC again?
It's going to be a 6.
I rolled a 3.
Nice.
Very nice. Okay.
I'm artsy.
Yeah. So you sit down.
crafty.
You sit down on your bed and start pulling out a few things and start tinkering with and beginning to build a sculpture for the sergeant. It's probably going to take you more than the 10-15 minutes you have here, but it's at least a start.
I'll just get like the basic, arms and legs structure. It's not going to look like anything yet, but
Yeah. But you can start that. While you're doing that, does anybody else do anything?
Uh,
Can't hear you, Joe.
Turned off my headset because I was coughing earlier. Zolos is
in
fine.
before the sergeant comes back.
Yeah, Zolos has found a spot. He's combing his hair, just making himself look extra beautiful. Pulled out some lotion from a little pouch, and he looks over at Zar and he's like, "You could probably use some of this, bud. It's got great seaweed oils in it. It's wonders for the skin. You will look gorgeous in no time, I promise."
You know what? I'm curious about the effects it would have on a porous stone. I feel like it might be bad, but yeah,
what?
I'll put it in the book.
Well, you can try it anytime. I make it myself. I can get some more anytime.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for offering.
From the sea.
Oh yeah. At some point, don't you worry. He's got a pitch presentation.
Is it a reverse funnel system?
I'm going to pull out a little notebook and just on the first page of it, underneath just a list of other stuff that's been crossed out, write in skin lotion, ?
Love it. Well, after about 10 minutes or so, the sergeant returns and hands out some equipment. Each of you are given a club and a suit of leather armor, matching leather armor, that you see that the sergeant himself wears a version of. But the sergeant, their scales look very, very sharp as they approach you and you get a good look at them. And you do notice that they themselves, their armor that they wear is very limited and only in certain places, but they also wear clothing of a style that matches to keep in with the same uniformity of the armor that's provided to you all. But you can put on your character sheets that you're given a suit of leather armor and a club. The club itself is a non-lethal weapon. You have all been trained on how to use these things during your training at boot camp. And while using them, you can attempt to knock out somebody with them. It functions the same way a regular weapon would use, except for the purposes of this game, it does non-lethal damage. So while you can break some bones or you can knock somebody out with it, and while using it, you can roll a D10 with it. However, it will not kill somebody unless there's actual intent behind it. Like a normal club.
And what does the armor do? Like mechanics-wise?
Mechanics-wise, let me see here. Let me pull out exactly what it says. Okay, so this armor counts as basic armor. Avoids checks you make against unpowered attacks while wearing it is a D8.
Okay.
So I'm going to pop this up for y'all into chat so you can read it. Okay.
You got the club stuff too.
Club is a basic weapon, which I will pop up for you. Doesn't add a whole lot of stuff to it. It's just can be wielded one hand, can be concealed, and can be used to attack a creature in melee.
It's a D10, you said, right?
Does non-lethal damage. Yes, and it's a D10. As you're looking over this equipment, the sergeant tells you, "These are your badges and tools of authority. While wearing it, you represent the town militia, and those clubs are there to reinforce that authority if need be. When using them in town, it is always good to remember that these are citizens here in Manos, and it does not look good for the town militia to be killing one of our own. When you are assigned
Heard, boss.
When you are assigned to guard duty at the wall or out in the outer outside of the wall, you will be assigned actual lethal weapons. But as long as you are just in the town itself, the clubs are all you need. So take a moment to get yourselves equipped, and I expect to see you all downstairs in about 10 minutes' time. Go ahead, Zolos.
So what you're saying is, if a townsfolk just starts to get a little rowdy, they have to respect our authority if we have this badge?
You see the sergeant pull out some freaking mirrored sunglasses, put them on, and just go, "Yeah!"
Oh, and I already have myself some custom armor, if that's okay. Oh, I mean, I appreciate the offer, but I mean, this stuff, it just goes better with my skin and my hair, don't you think?
Now, I feel like this needs to be a persuasion check for you.
Now it's like he's got sweet talk, but that's to convince others his intentions are good with a D8. I don't know if that's.
Nope, I will allow you to use that.
Alright.
So you're going to be rolling a D8, but at the same time, this is also a bit of a sell. Because, so I'm going to say that your DC is 4.
Alright.
So looking for a 4 or higher.
Oh, I need it higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower.
I'm just in the habit of saying higher.
Yeah.
But so I'm working on it. But yeah, you needed to hit a 4 or lower. You got a 2. So the sergeant takes the sunglasses off Horatio Kane style and says, "I like the cut of your jib. I don't see why not. It's
Thank you. I like you even better now.
Just make sure you're representing the guards properly."
Oh, I will be the most fabulous guard you will ever have.
Indeed. Well, as I said, downstairs in 10 minutes, folks. Get to it. And the sergeant makes their way down to the lower level to wait for you all, to get in your armor, to check out the area. Dr. Bloom, you know that, rank has its privileges. So, like, in your room, you have one bathroom that 24 people have to share. That sucks. The four sergeants, however, have two bathrooms that they share in a much larger, not larger, your room is the biggest, but a more spacious area, and the non-coms themselves have a much more spacious living quarters too. So, you kind of all feel like you're a little bit trapped in just a can of sardines, but could be worse. 24 is not nearly as many people that were in your barracks. When you're in basic training, more than double were in that. So there's good and bad, but rank definitely gets their advantages, and one of that is much nicer rooms. Does anybody want to do anything before they head down to begin your first patrol? No? Okay. Well, then you all don your armor. Joe, I can't hear you.
So I think I've done enough shenanigans for the moment. I'll back off for a bit.
Fair enough. Then, like I said, you all don your armor, or in Zolos' case, keep his armor on, and you all make your way down to meet up with the sergeant. Once you're there, the sergeant says, "Now, for today, we will be patrolling the town. I will make sure to point out all of the areas that you must maintain extra special attention to on your patrols. I'll lead you around and show you the walls. And by the time our patrol is done, it should be dinner time. Not a bad first day, I would say. Well, single file march!" And everyone snaps into attention, and the sergeant begins to lead you around the town of Manos. Let's see here. The patrol that Veramax takes you on does not take you very long. You only spend about an hour or so walking around the village itself. It's not a large village, other than the fact that it is in the forest itself and surrounded by trees. For the most part, there's not a whole lot that goes on in a village like this. There's the mill work and the logging that goes on outside of town. There's some trade that goes on in the marketplace, and there's a few halfway decent shops in town as well. But as you're all walking around, you can't help but note that this place is kind of boring. Especially if you come from a city that is, like, more modern, like the capital. This place is rural bumpkin AF. And it's not hard to note this fact as you're all walking around. I'll go ahead and pop up the actual map so you can see exactly where you are. There's Manos down there in basically the lower center part of the island. You got some mountains to the west. You're surrounded by the woods. It's, like I said, podunk. As you're shown around, you of course see the good places like Shevard's Mill, McCark's, which is the general goods store. There's Fox's Iron Works, which is the blacksmith, and the Forest's Bounty, which is the tavern. as you're approaching that, the sergeant does tell you all that it does get to be a lively place, especially towards the early evening. That's an area that your group will be checking out frequently over the course of your patrols. Also, as you're walking, I'd like everybody to just make an insight check on the way the sergeant is behaving, because they've never once referred to the stack of paperwork they had when they met you all. But they had been carrying it around for a while. They put it away when you left the barracks, but you can tell that ever since then, something's been on their mind. So I want everybody to make just an insight check. If you don't have anything that increases or senses anything that can help you sense motive, you're going to be rolling a d10. If you have something that doesn't allow you to pay attention to things, like ADHD, then you're going to be rolling a d12.
Only in real life, Matthew. Only in real life.
Well, I point that out because we know Skarn does have ADHD, so they're not really paying attention too well.
There's too many interesting things going on in this boring old village. I have so many things to think about.
I guess with Prominent, the one where Zolos, people want to bask in his glow, are there townsfolk, coming up and oh my god, look at the gorgeous thing? Is he distracted, or should I just do the D10? That's literally one of my faults as Prominent.
So that's more just to keep you from escaping or hiding.
Yeah.
So I would say
I just figured I'd have to check.
Yeah.
And what did you say the difficulty was going to be?
The difficulty on this one is going to be a 6.
Huh.
Oh shit!
Would an investigation ability help that?
Yes, it would. Investigation would help.
Okay. Oh, so roll a d8. I mean, you still rolled a 2, Nico. I think you're good.
I think the doctor's fine, but still.
Make a check. So, how?
I guess, just for mechanically speaking, Skarn also has the investigatability, but because my struggle also applies to this, the struggle counts, so I don't get the bonus.
Correct.
But you still crit, so...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that,
I'd almost like to think, while they're walking, Zolos is trying to instruct Skarn on a nice skin regimen, and then he's just what do you think the captain's doing over there? And they're both just looking right at him, or the sergeant, and that's why we both critted.
I'm kind of blown away that literally the lowest roll was a 3.
Yep.
You are all paying attention to the sergeant. I guess that earlier display has really caught your attention as far as them, the way they go. And you all can see, there's a lot of concern and worry on their faces. They're walking around. People walk by them and nod and say hi, and they kind of don't notice at all. They're still being attentive to their duty and showing you around, but something is definitely weighing heavily on their mind. Does anybody actually inquire about it?
I mean, I can try.
I'm gonna roll hesitant to see whether or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll meek to see if I can.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Okay, 12.
Type. Well, difficulty. What would the difficulty be, Matt?
For this one, You're both rolling a d10, so let's say middle of the road, 5.
10. I'm pretty sure I'm rolling a d12 here.
Oh, that's
Me
right.
too.
You are rolling a
Yeah.
d12, but still, let's say
These are struggles. 5?
let's. Well, we're gonna say middle of the road, then 6.
Okay.
Oh my god.
No.
Okay.
Nope. I go to ask and I trip over my feet and fall flat on my face.
Oh. Oh.
And then I go full tomato.
Dr. Bloom kind of uses their wings to sort of bring little Lark up onto their feet, and hide their face for a hot minute, and then go up to the sergeant and be like, "Sergeant,
you can't see past my magnificent. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
to see here."
Nothing to see here." I look to the rest of the squad. What are we asking? Should I just ask?
I mean, so I guess they just seem like really distracted. Are they darting back and forth, or?
No, it's more of like they just have heavy concern on their face, and like there's just worry and concern.
I mean, you did the roll. I'll let you do the walking and the talking.
Okay. So Ezra just straightens up their armaments, presentable. Lark, hopefully on their feet, all good. Walks up to the sergeant. It's like, Sergeant. Maybe a professional opinion, but are you doing? Professional question. Are you doing all right there? Anything on your mind?
The sergeant kind of looks up and starts a little bit, like they're surprised, and then their eyes glance around and take in Lark's cherry red face, and the rest of the team just kind of standing there staring, though Dreezy definitely has more of a glazed look on their face. The sergeant says, Dr. Bloom, yes, well, to be honest, the captain is quite concerned lately, and to be honest, so am I. You see, we sent out a squadron to investigate an occurrence that happened a few days ago. There was a shooting star that fell somewhere near the mountains in the forest, and, well, yesterday a squadron was sent to investigate. Unfortunately, they have not returned, and the captain is quite worried about it. When I went to announce that you were all there, he told me that he's planning on sending a scouting party to look for the squadron that hasn't returned. He's recruiting 2 of our sergeants as well as a couple local hunters who know the area. Hopefully they'll find any sign of our squadron. We've never had a group disappear like that before. Everyone knows you must be returned to Manos before nightfall. So, as I'm sure you can understand, the captain is rather worried.
Is there a reason for that? Is the nocturnal wildlife more aggressive?
The sergeant looks over to you, Skarn, and they say, "It can be. The woods are always dangerous at night. More nocturnal monsters tend to be vicious, and things that come down from the mountains, well, let's just say it's better to be behind the walls when the sun sets."
Interesting.
enough of worry about that.
Never scared.
Say that again, Coins?
I ain't never scared. Send us out there.
The sergeant kind of chuckles at that. You are all far too green to be heading out into the woods by yourselves. Don't worry. The captain knows what he's doing, and those that they are sending to scout out what happened are some of the best. Your route is passing by the bar once again. And as you make your way down the road, you hear the loud sound of a crash come from the building, as well as a lot of shouting. The sergeant hears this and gives you all kind of a grim smile as they say, well then, sounds like a bar fight, so happening over at the tavern. Good. This'll give you all a chance to show me what you're made of. Come along. While we allow the villagers to let loose, we can't have them destroying property or putting anybody out of work, so we have to go in and stop things. If anyone puts up too much of a fight, we'll arrest them and throw them into the brig for the evening. But as long as they give themselves up and stop fighting once we announce ourselves, at worst, all you'll have to do is crack a few heads. And they take out a club of their own and kind of crack it on in their hands. And this
Zolos is getting some manic energy. He's like, yeah, this is fun.
It is going to be fun, because when we come back from break, we are going to be doing our very first combat situation here in Sagas. So look forward to that when we get back. But we are going to take a 10-minute break, folks. So stay tuned. And when we get back, we're going to see what our heroes are capable of in this brand new TTRPG system. Should be a lot of fun. Howdy, everybody. We are back. And when we last left off, it sounds like there's a bar fight happening over at the Forest's Bounty, which is the local inn/tavern here in Manos. The sergeant has just told our heroes that, hey, it's your job to go break up these fights. You're not allowed to kill anybody, but if you have to crack a few skulls to get them to stop, that's part of the job. So we are joining up right now with our heroes as they make their way towards the inn. Now, as you can all see at the inn, you all step through the double doors into the large common room that was at one point warm and friendly, but is now filled with yells as quite a few groups of people are in a full-on brawl here in the tavern. Like, we're talking Roadhouse style. We just need, oh God, I'm blanking on his name now. The bartender.
Swayze?
Yeah, Swayze. We just need Swayze to come out and kick some heads in. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's y'all. You're Swayze. So let's go ahead and get this started. So, how do you do combat in Sagas? Well, good thing we have a handout for that. Okay? We are all starting off combat by having each of you all make a reaction check. And I'm going to be using the monster's reaction stat to determine when they go in combat. So I need all of you all to roll a d10 unless you have an ability that either helps or hinders you when making your reaction checks at the beginning of combat. Does anybody have anything to change their dice at all?
I have hesitant, so I'll be rolling a d12.
Okay. Love it. So you're going to be rolling a d12. Everybody else gets to roll that d10. Skarn, I'm going to allow you to decide whether or not your ADHD affects this roll.
Oh, shit, that's a good one.
I don't think it does, because the way I envision it, the way it's written at least, is that it affects doing things that require a lot of focus, like long-term projects. So I don't think jumping into a fight is going to be affected by that.
I completely agree with you. So you roll a d10 as well.
Oof.
What's her difficulty?
There is no difficulty in this. We're just rolling to see who gets the lowest.
They're really paying for all those ones earlier.
Oh yeah, so am I.
Okay, bear with me while I'm in the middle of this.
Bear with me while I try to break the game immediately. Does my lucky ability apply to this?
What does the lucky ability say?
When you roll the largest possible number for a check, you can spend 2 effort to succeed instead of fail.
And what did you roll? You rolled a 10? Oh,
I rolled
yeah.
a 10 on the D10.
Yes,
So
you
can
actually use the lucky for this instead and make that a 1.
Okay, so I would automatically get the first in initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And I just rolled just on the roller instead of doing the stat thing, because I didn't...
I'm not going to do it this time because I think the effort is more valuable in combat, but that's good to know that that's how it works.
I got a 1 as well there.
I want to do a sweet combo move with somebody. Isn't that what it's supposed to be about?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's about. So that's fine. You don't have to expend the effort to do that if you don't want to.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to know if that was possible.
As far as I'm reading it, that's possible. If the game devs want to contradict me on that, they can do so by saying so either in chat or in the comments on YouTube. But as of right now, I'm going to rule that, that it is going to affect it. So
cool.
Now I'm going to go down and ask you all individually what you got. Dreezy, I know that you rolled a 10. Ezra, what did you roll?
I rolled a d12 and got a 6.
6. Okay. Skarn, what did you get?
I got a big old 9.
9. Ouch. Okay. Zolos, what did you get?
I got a 1.
1 as well. Lark, how about you?
I also got a 6.
Also got a 6. Okay. So it's a little bit different how things go here. We're all used to 5th edition, so it's going to take a little bit getting used to, but the way this works is whoever rolled the highest obviously goes first.
It's highest, not lowest.
Yeah, it's the highest.
Oh.
Or sorry, no.
Oh.
God damn it! I keep saying highest, meaning lowest. So whoever rolled the lowest goes first. So whoever got a 1, Zolos, you go first. From there, it goes in numerical order down to 10 or 12 or whatever. But the rule also is that player characters go before monsters on the same initiative. Okay. So
Cool.
So while there are a lot of 6s on there, the PCs always go first. Also put in the 2 NPCs, they're going at the bottom last. So that's what we got going on. Let's get some good fight music going on. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on. So here's what's up. You're stepping into this tavern that is in a full-on brawl roadhouse style, like I said. There's a pair of people in a fist fight right in front of the bar, and you can see the two people who tend the bar, the bartender and the barmaiden, kind of crouched down behind the bar in this section up here to the far north. You can see that there are a pair of villagers fighting in the hex to your northwest. Further on, there's another two, and to the west of that, another two. Now, combat works a little bit differently in Sagas. Players have two things that they can do on their turn. The first one is to move. The second one is an action. With that action, they can attack, they can help each other, they can encourage, they can defend, or whatever they want to on their turn. On the monster's turn, they get to do two things as well. They get to move, and they get to either attack or do something similar like move again. You can move twice on a turn. You can use your action to move if you want to. Movement is 1. So every movement you spend can bring you over 1 hex. This is not like 5th edition where each square counts as 5 feet. In the meta of Sagas, each hexagon counts as 15 feet. In each hex, there is an occupancy limit. The occupancy limit is 10. Up to 10 occupancy can exist in each hex. For those of our players who are small, Boomy and Lark, they count as 1. For those who are of medium size, like Ezra and Zolos, they count as 2. However, Skarn is big. Skarn counts as 4. Now, as I said, in total, each hex can hold a total of 10 occupancy. If that occupancy goes over, like if all 5 of our heroes move into a hexagon where 2 people are, they can't attack. There's too many people around you. So they need to consider that when they're moving around. There is strategy involved. Also, I'll explain a little bit of combat in and of itself. With your action, you can do things like attack, of course, which you're rolling against a target's defense or their reaction ability. When our players are trying to attack, they roll against the monster's defense. When a monster attacks them, they're rolling to dodge, to get away from that. And so they have to roll under the monster's attack number. Or when they're attacking the monster, they have to roll over the monster's defense. Y'all with me so far? It'll become easier as we go. But there are other things our heroes can do with our actions. They can encourage, which allows them to transfer some of their effort to the other player. Effort is what allows our heroes to do their abilities. Other things you can do is brace, which it lessens the amount of damage by expending health instead. You can hold an action and wait until something else happens for that action to trigger. You can also help. Help does not require an action. However, it does require 2 effort. When you help another team member, you have to be in the same hex as them, but you spend 2 effort to give your teammate an extra dice on whatever they're wanting to do. You do not have to wait for your turn to do this action. It doesn't cost an action, as I said. It just requires the effort. So if your teammate is trying to do something, you can, on their turn, help them at the cost of 2 effort to add a dice to their pool when they roll. Other things you are able to do with that effort is to do a combo. By spending 2 effort before an ally attacks, you can do a team up. You'll describe how the 2 of you work together, and if successful, you do an additional point of health when your attack succeeds. See, normal attacks only do 1 point of health, no matter what. We don't use dice to determine damage, it's just the 1. However, if you're doing a combo, that 1 becomes 2. And those numbers add up a lot, especially in a game where everything has low hit points. So keep that in mind. Now, let's go ahead and see that in action by starting off combat. Zolos. You are the first person to react. You had just stepped into the bar, and as you're doing so, just a beer bottle comes whizzing through the air, arcing over your head to smash against the wall. You can see that the people are fighting. They are grabbing chairs and shoving things around. If you don't act soon, stuff's going to get broken. So, how do you react?
All right, well, I guess he's going to be like, just all of a sudden he comes in. I guess, is there music too, or is there like a band, or is that stopped?
The band's definitely stopped, and the people who were playing, it's just a lute player. And he's kind of cowering.
Okay.
No, he's cowering over in a corner towards the back.
Well, I mean, I guess if Zolos would see him, he's like, come on, strike up something catchy. We want to get down to this. But he's going to be just kind of like dancing his way through as if there is music, because in his head, he's always got something going. And so it's like, if you've seen the movie Kickboxer, think Jean-Claude Van Damme dancing in that bar. And he's just sashaying over, just in his own head. And I guess between these two, it looks like it's maybe like a female halfling or an elf. And is that a dwarf?
Yeah, actually, the 2 that are fighting in this, one of them is an elf, like you can see, an Eladrin, and the other is a heffalump creature. They have gigantic ears, a long trunk, kind of a barrel body. Their skin is gray, and they have big, wide arms. And they're just brawling with this skinny-ass, bony elf.
Yeah, well, I was hoping it was a smaller creature because I was going to try and grapple it, but fuck it, we're going to go for it. Yeah, he's just going to kind of walk up and be like, and is it a female elf, or is it, I mean,
they're androgynous, so...
By looking at the token here.
They're an elf, they're androgynous, let's just
to him,
be honest.
Usually elves, they're typically, stereotypically beautiful creatures. He, being a beautiful creature himself, is going to help out the beautiful creature. And so he's just going to start dancing up. He's like, hey, what's your name? You like this place? Is it a good bar? Yeah, it's a good vibe. He's going to look at the sort of heffalump creature. He's like, he goes, come on, man. This is a harsh buzz, man. It's like, look at this gorgeous creature. You can't do this, bruh. And he's going to kind of flash his badge. He goes, the new sheriff's in town. And then I've got a grappling and grippling. I'm a wrestler.
Okay.
So he's got grabbing and grippling as the ability check. And it's when holding, and now it's like says when holding a creature, I can like squeeze in certain spots. But what I just use this is just like my attack too, just to kind of wrap him up.
Let's see here.
There's a separate talent for grabbing people.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your talent, wrestler. And while it does say when you're holding a creature, you can attack them by
so I can
squeezing
go to grab
vulnerable
them
spots.
first. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a grab. We're still going to use a D10.
Yeah. We'll just copy. What kind of?
See, I'm feeling for this one that you're just going to have to beat their defense So
Okay.
you are aiming for a 7 or higher.
7 or higher?
7 or
Mhm.
lower.
Or lower. 7 or lower. God. I will eventually stop doing that, I promise.
Oh, no! First bad one. I mean, he
Oof.
looks gorgeous failing.
Yeah, you walk up, and as you're flirting with the androgynous elf, you go to try to grab the Hephalum, and they're big and they're beefy, and they somehow just manage to do one of those judo blocks and shove you back.
Ho, 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 my friend. And then he's gonna start some button on the jacket. It's like, oh, I didn't want to have to do this. And he's gonna take it neatly, fold it on the table, and then he's got it, I guess, just like a kind of like a chest piece. And then his arms though are kind of out, and of course he's just gorgeous and ripped. I specifically, but he's as arrogant as he can be. And so he's just like, he goes, I really didn't want to have to get this harsh, bro. It's like, but we're gonna have to thrash here soon, and then that'll be, I guess, that's gonna end up being his turn. But yeah, he's fronting up in front of this guy with the Eladrin to his back.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is it for your turn. The Eladrin is the person who is going next.
Oh shit, they're next.
They are kind of wobbling on their feet a little bit, and they saw you try to go up and grab the Hephalum and get pushed back, and they just kind of give you this little dismissive sneer. And
It's still my heart.
they take a swing at the Hephalum. Let's see here.
Yeah, she'll come around. Don't worry, or they will come around.
They might come around. You never know. But what happens is, like the Hephalum, when you went to grab them and they push you off, they turn and the trunk faces you and just does that right in your face as you're putting down the coat. But the Eladrin uses that moment to their advantage and swings hard,
Yeah.
connecting the Hephalum right on the side of the chin. The Hephalum does
Hell yeah.
stumble back a little bit, slightly dazed.
Just blows a kiss.
Mm-hmm. The next two in line are these two in this hex over here towards the back. They seem to be trading blows back and forth. They've got each other in like a bit of a headlock, and you see one kind of come under with an uppercut. The other one does the same. They both kind of stumble backwards and then grab onto one another again. Lark, you're up next. What do you do?
Oh boy. Oh, okay. I have an idea of something to do, but I don't know if. Hang on. How does the meek struggle? Is that you're intimidated by authority? Okay. So if this is specifically only towards authority figures, though,
Mm-hmm.
would it affect me, like getting up onto a table and just shouting at everybody, just calm the fuck down?
Yeah, no, you can absolutely do that. It would not affect you at all. It only affects you when you're dealing with authority figures.
Cool. All right. Then I think
move
I'm just
yourself to a
going
table.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? How far can we travel?
You can move freely in the hex you're in. If you
Okay.
want to move to a different hex, that counts as one movement.
So if I wanted to climb up on this table, it would count as a movement?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
But I can. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so
you
yeah, I'm
absolutely
gonna get up
can.
on that table and just gonna yell out, hopefully loud enough. Actually, you know what? With my vocal mimicry, I'm going to mimic the voice of the centaur. He was
Okay.
fucking intimidating, and I'm gonna shout out, "Everybody, calm the fuck down!" in his voice, their voice.
I like this.
No, the
Yeah.
dragonkin is their voice. Centaur is his voice. Got it.
Yes. Yes. So you're using the centaur, the captain's voice?
So many people. Yes, the centaur.
I've introduced you to 2 NPCs. 2.
I know, but now there's all these people in this bar, and the whole time, Lark's been like really intimidated and kept her head down and hasn't like looked anyone in the eye.
No, absolutely. And so for this, you're basically making a intimidation check or just a surprise check against all of these different individuals. You are going to be rolling a D8. That's the good news because you're using your vocal mimicry. The bad news is this is a tough sell. I mean, this is a really tough sell. You need to if you're trying to convince everybody in the room to stop fighting, you need to roll a 2 or lower.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Whew. All right.
If I may, I'd like to spend 2 efforts to help on this check. Because I think Skarn's just going to sort of step forward, doing its best to look menacing. You know, it's enormous. It's a big rock thing. You know, people aren't going to want to mess with it. So go ahead and get that extra die, because that's important for this one.
I like this. I like this a lot. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Everything above 4 is going to be more people you've convinced to stop. If you can roll a 4, you convinced a couple people to at least pay attention to you. If you roll
so 4 and
3,
the lower
2.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got it? So if you roll a 2 or higher, everyone's going to stop and look at you. 2 or lower.
What would I call this? Just shout. I'm just going to call it a shout.
We're going to call it command. You're going to command them. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Activity is command. I'm going to roll 1 die, or I get to roll 2?
You're rolling 2 die. You're rolling 2 die because Skarn is helping you.
Right. I'm rolling 2 die. I'm rolling 2d8. Difficulty you said was 4.
The lowest is or the highest is 4. So if you hit a 4, you're going to at least convince a couple people. 2,
gotcha.
Everyone's going to.
Oh boy, here we go. All right.
Okay.
3, not too bad. So I'm going to say that these 2 here, up here by the bar, stop for a moment to look over at you. These 2 who are currently headlocked with one another don't pay attention at all. These 2 here, it's a farmer, and it looks like I can't even tell. Like they both look human. One looks like a farmer. One looks like I don't know, just a dude has his arm up. But whatever.
An angsty guy. I don't know.
Yeah, angsty looking dude. But whatever. The 2 of them, they had their fists up. They were getting ready to swing again. But then they both look at you as well. So you've stopped at least a few of them.
Okay. Cool. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yep.
I like it. Okay.
Is the sergeant even here, or did he just throw us in here and leave?
I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give this to you for free. The sergeant is standing at the door of the inn.
Oh, okay.
They're literally just standing in the door watching to see what you do.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. Well, that's what I got.
Okay, well, Dr. Bloom, you just saw Lark get up on the table and shout at everybody in the captain's voice. That's pretty weird. What are you doing?
So, I mean, hearing the captain's voice, but also having the hesitant trait, I do have a question. Do I roll hesitance before I take any sort of reaction?
That is an excellent question. Let's take a look at hesitant real quick. Okay. Here's the good news. It mostly just affects your reaction. So while it does affect you, like reacting in combat and other things, it doesn't make you react any certain way. So you're good for there.
Okay. In that case, I think then I'm just going to take 2 movement to go to the far end over here to start assessing the situation in the corner with the 2 folks in a headlock to see if there's any sort of interception there.
Okay, absolutely. I kind of imagine that you all just watch as Dr. Bloom just takes flight into the air to kind of soar over the combat between them and this next area, landing down to assess the 2 people who are fighting. That is 2 movements, so that is your turn, but pretty good use of your movement. Now, the next thing that happens are these 2 drunkards who have been fighting over here at the bar. They both had beer bottles in their hands and they're getting ready to swing. But when Lark jumped up on the table and shouted, they stopped and they look at you. And the 2 of them are going to look at you and say, "Why should we listen to you, short stuff?" You can actually respond.
Oh, okay. What would Lark say? Don't be deceived by my small stature. I'm just gonna kind of like twirl my club and like point it at them in a don't even think about it kind of way.
Okay. I want you to make for me an intimidation check. You're just going to be using a D10, but we're going to see how they react to it.
Okay. Intimidation. Okay. Die. Is it just a D10 or?
Just a D10.
Okay. Six.
Okay, 6. We're going to see how they react to you.
Yes.
The 2 of them just look you over. They see the club hanging from your side. They see the armor that you're wearing.
Oh no, I'm holding the club. I'm
you're
pointing it
the
at
club.
them.
Perfect. You're holding the club, pointing it at them. They look at it directly. They look past it and see the uniform you're wearing. And the both of them kind of put their hands up and are like, "Oh, you're with the guards. Oh shit. We need to get out of here. Sorry." And like they both drop their beer bottles, and they're going to use their movement to leave. So that's going to get them out to here. They both kind of shove each other as they're passing, but then you can see the sergeant just kind of nodding their head and step aside to let them pass. So that's 2 of them gone. Good job. Next up, we have that the Hephalum that Zolos tried to grab, and then the Eladrin punched in its face. The creature looks between the two of you. They kind of stumble back and say, "You jackass, distracting me." And he is going to try to hit you, Zolos, with a haymaker. So I need you to roll to react. This is going to be...
What, a D10?
It is a D10 against their attack, unless you have something that allows you to dodge better.
Not that I know of.
Okay. Ashley...
I think so.
Ash, a haymaker is basically a heavy overhand punch designed to knock them out.
Now, since I guess I failed last time, I guess so. Do we have 2 effort to start?
You do. You always have 2 effort to start. Correct.
And then since I guess I failed to check before. Do I get another? I mean, so what would I guess? Would I be able to?
You cannot go above your maximum.
Okay, so would I be able to like use those 2 to give myself like an extra?
You cannot. It costs 3. It costs 3 effort to give yourself.
Next when we get the next level up, that's right.
Correct.
So you said it's.
So you're just rolling to dodge. You need to beat a 6. So you're rolling a D10 and you're trying to beat a 6.
I wish they had some of these presets so we don't have to input all this stuff. That'd be great. Whoever Saga people, if we could set that up, it'd be awesome.
No, you know what? Nope, don't even complain about that because it's awesome that we're able to use this at all.
No, I would just say it'd be great. It'd be cool.
Which actually does remind me.
If we could just, you can create your own.
For everyone in the group, Pink Chic Geek redeemed a hydration check, so everybody has some water.
Oh, yep, that's right. So everybody, hydrate.
I don't have anything. I should, but I don't.
Hydrate or dihydrate, Joe?
Well, then I guess I'm gonna dihydrate because I don't have anything to drink at the moment.
It's like Biko's mantra was just hydrate or dihydrate out in the middle of the forest of Quebec in August. Whew. With like 99% humidity. Oh yeah.
Okay, so
slurp up.
You rolled an 8. That is a failure, so you are going to take 1 point of non-lethal damage.
Does that change the... Oh, it does. Look at that.
Okay. Okay, next off we have the 2 villagers that also noticed Lark yelling at them. I'm going to have the 2 of them just make a D10 check. They are assessing the situation, okay? Because, you know, the fuzz just showed up and they're starting to yell at them. So do they have sense and back off and leave? Or do the cops enrage them and draw them into attack? We're going to find out. The 2 of them are going to be rolling a D10 check. They have to beat a 6. So, or they have to hit a 6 or higher, or lower. Okay.
Don't be stupid. Make good decisions.
So we're looking for that 6 or lower. 6 or lower. That's a 2, and that's a 2.
Shit.
No, that's good. That's good.
Really?
Yeah, that means
that's them being smart.
That's them being smart.
Yes.
So the 2 of them looked together. It's just funny that it kind of ended this way, but The two of them look to one another, and one's like, "Shit, it's the fuzz. We'll deal with this another time." And they both kind of shove each other, and they're both going to run. Two movement out the door. Come on, Hot Fuzz is like one of my favorite freaking movies.
Well,
it is so well
One
done.
of us is covered in
Masterpiece.
feathers, so it could be Fuzz.
Skarn, it's your turn.
All right. If I am counting correctly, this zone over here has 7 points of capacity in it currently.
Correct.
8, I think. Lark counts
7.
as 2,
Nope.
right?
Lark
Doesn't
counts
she?
as 1. We figured
Oh,
that
she
out.
only counts as 1? Okay. Alright.
Okay. So since Skarn counts as 4, I think they're gonna just step up over here, because that should put it to 11, which is over capacity, if I'm remembering correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just gonna sort of step in and get up to these two and like, all right, folks, that's gone on plenty. Trust me, you don't want to find out what a stone fist feels like. It's not fun. I've tried it myself. You don't like it's bad. Don't seriously. We're done here.
This begs to the question: has Skarn punched itself to see if it
Skarn
hurts?
has absolutely punched itself. It's got like a scar across the side of its face because
Quit hitting yourself,
that is
quit hitting
definitely
yourself.
how it got it. It
Mm.
wanted to see if, like, because that's how it does things, you know? It's always experimenting, always seeing what works. And am I
Yeah.
strong enough to hurt myself? The answer is yes.
That is valid. That is valid.
It's also tried many other ill-advised things to see if it was tough enough to push through. It's generally not.
Oh, Skarn. No.
I love it. Okay. Well, Skarn, that's it for your... Well, that was just your movement, but technically you can't attack on your action, but you do still have an action. So if you would like that speech to be like a sway check, like I guess in Pathfinder it would be a diplomacy check, or that sort of thing. So if you want to do that to try to convince these two to stop fighting, you absolutely can.
I would love to do that. So Skarn can technically attack. That's one of the benefits of being big, is you can attack while his zone is over capacity.
Nice.
But I feel like walking up and giving a little "it's time to pack it in" speech and then punching someone directly in the face is kind of counterintuitive, so
Fair.
let's
Fair.
try this the nice way.
Okay, so this is going to be a D10, unless you have something that benefits it or hinders it.
Can't say that I do.
I'm thinking that because of what's going on with Lark on the table yelling, the swinging and whatnot that's going on. So I would say that, this is probably going to be a 5. You need to roll a 5 or higher to beat this check.
Can,
Alrighty, let's see how this goes.
What's up?
can,
Hold on.
Can Ezra add...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Can Ezra use 2 effort to help Skarn by, widening their wings and turning around and being like, no, seriously. And also just sort of like encasing them, because Zolos, like, we're essentially surrounding this pair of people. So if I turn my attention, that might help. Does make them feel like, oh, no, the Fuzz are really here. They're gonna crack down.
No, how creepy would it be for your head to just turn 180 to look at
Oh,
them?
yes.
That's the real fan right there.
Yes. Love it.
Right
Love
there.
it. Hell
Lean
yeah.
right into the owlness.
Let's go.
I'm down for this. So,
Yeah.
Skarn, you get to make this check with 2 D10s instead of 1, and you're going to take that lower number. So roll this with 2 dice. You're aiming for that 5 or higher.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Or lower, yeah. God damn.
That one, baby!
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. So, after punching Zolos in the face, this owl just turns their head around and is like, yo, you don't want to deal with this. And the Heffalump and the Eladrin just see this, and both of their eyes are wide, and they're just like, oh shit. The Eladrin swears a little bit and says, fine. I'm good. No more. I'm good. And the Heffalump, like, they have their trunk kind of balled up a little bit, looking like they're ready to attack as well. But those large, wide ears just kind of droop a little bit, and they hang their head as well. You've successfully convinced them to stand down.
Whew.
Well done. Okay.
Thank you.
Next up in turn order is Dreezy. Dreezy, it looks like some people have stopped now, but there's still the two in the headlock over there by the good doctor.
What about the ones behind the bar?
They were people who were just taking cover. They're ducking down and trying to stay out of the fight.
I thought they were fighting each other.
Yeah. No, they are not.
And you say the captain's still standing, or the sergeant's still standing at the door watching us?
Still standing at the door watching.
All right. Dreezy's gonna jump up on the table, rustle around in his pack for something sharp. I'm sure he's got like a little sharp tool in there, and he's gonna throw it into the rope that's hanging the chandelier from the ceiling to drop the chandelier on both of these people.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, there's a chandelier hanging above them, just kind of swinging there. You're going to be making a ranged attack roll. Now, do you have anything that assists with throwing?
Yes, I have weapon training thrown.
Okay, so good news is that with that, you should be able to hit the range there, because it is 2 squares or 2 hexes away.
Yeah, it says close range. No, it's only 1 hex away. It's right here.
This is the one that stopped.
Oh, you're aiming at these two here? Okay, those two did stop. These are the two that are still wrestling.
Oh, okay.
So that
okay, yeah. Then can I move? I guess can I move and then do it or no?
Yeah, you would be able to move to the next hex over here and then do it.
But then, even when it's at capacity, I'm still able to throw.
Oh, there is that too.
Could he attack from this one through 2 since he has the ability?
Well, like I was saying, well, hold on. I need to look at your thing real quick. Let me double check. New system.
Okay,
Who
closest
dis?
and adjacent zone. Yeah, I think I can only do close ranges, which is the next adjacent zone.
Yeah, because it's weapon or talent rank 4 that allows you to hit the mid range. So you would have to get close to them, which you could not do that in this square because it is beyond capacity.
Dang. Okay. All right. So I'm not gonna do that. I am gonna jump down in here, but I'm gonna like crawl on the ground, like to be more out of sight. I'm crawling underneath the tables, and I'm looking for any valuables people might have dropped during this fight.
Now that I like. So yeah, this is going to be a part of your kleptomania. When you see something valuable or unguarded, you must make a check. If you fail, you must attempt to take it.
Yeah. What a
So,
ridiculous character.
roll for me a d10. With that d10, you must roll a 6 or lower. If you do, you're gonna see something.
I rolled a 9 to find loot.
Unfortunately, you get down and you're like crawling around looking on your hands and knees for anything that might be valuable. But other than like broken glass from bottles, you're not really seeing anything.
Okay, and I leap back to my feet and I call over like to make sure that the sergeant can hear me. Like, yep, everybody's wearing socks. Check. They're well within the limits of the statutes of the Monos Kingdom.
Roll for me a bullshit check. This is just gonna be.
Coins. You should have.
This is I'm rolling this as part of your anarchist struggle. So you need to roll a d12, and you need to beat
hubris.
You need to beat a 5.
Eight.
Oh.
8. So yeah, you yell this, and you look back over to the door where the sergeant is just leaning against it, their arms crossed, the tail just kind of wrapped lightly around their legs, and they're just shaking their head at you, like in disgust. Next up is the 2 people behind the bar. They're starting to get up now and look around. The fight is more or less over, but there are still the 2 who are like wrestling around with one another in front of Dr. Bloom. So they kind of they're crouching down and they're just watching for the most part. But other than that, they're not really going to do anything else. So we're back at the top of turn order. Zolos, you are in an overfilled area. You just got sucker punched, but other than that, you're good.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
what do you do?
I mean, he's got thick skin, so he does have that 1 extra max health, so he's still sitting pretty. I mean, he's just gonna kind of shake his jaw. He's like, "That's a good one, Trunks." I was like, "I underestimated you, sir." He's like, let's adjourn this conversation over to the bar. Let's all get a drink. Let's calm down, everybody. I was like, you don't want Lurch or Hoots over there to do any damage to you, do you? And he's just gonna try and, using his sweet talk, try and convince them. He's like, hey, they're done, but he's like, hey, let's go over to the bar. Let's talk it out. Let's see why we're fighting.
Are you doing this to the 2 who are headlocked?
The 2, no. He's doing this to the 2 that are right in front of him.
It. Okay,
He's checking out of the fight. He's like, you know what? Let's get these people out of the way. Because if he can get them to move to the next square, that means, he's gonna have nicknames for everybody. But that means that the others can go take care of those 2. So
okay, well, here's the good news.
Crowd control.
Yeah, I dig it. Here's the good news. They're also slightly convinced already because Skarn there really kind of freaked them out. So you are going to be rolling this with a very low DC. Ooh. It's only you got to beat a 7.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, you could put all kinds of things into that checkbox. It's gonna be dangerous. It's gonna be a dangerous campaign, people.
That's why I get to tell you what you get to roll.
See, I put it nice. It's like instead of Cog's bad touch.
No,
it's sugary words.
Okay, you get to say slightly dirty feeling things and curse the Strahd.
It's sweet talk.
You don't need to do it in this one too.
Hey, sugary words of goodness. That's just he's sweet talking them into getting them to like, hey, let's go sit down. Let's get you guys out of this situation.
Yeah, well,
but that's a 4.
So since you fucking rolled a 4,
sweet talk is exactly what I put, but I just made it different.
No, No, well, so I'm going to need a shower after this game. But fortunately, with that 4, the Heffalump lowers its trunk and says, well, it's good to know that our guards can take a punch. And the Eladrin looks at them and kind of nods and says, another drink would be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks at the Eladrin. He's like, let's go make this way. And he's going to kind of put his arm in almost like friendship around the Heffalump. He's like, come on, why don't you show me how you did that? Like, you know, he's making friends with the folk.
Absolutely. Battle is getting down, but not quite done yet. At the end of Zolos' turn, the Eladrin is going to use its movement to come over to the bar and order both it and the Heffalump and Zolos an ale. And that's it. However, the 2 drunks have been ignoring this whole thing, and they push off one another. One slugs the other. They both take a point of damage. And they look like, at least, that they have no intention of ignoring the brawl they're currently in. So, Lark, you're up next.
Yeah. Don't think I have anything that's gonna be helpful. I'm too far away to do anything.
Well, technically, you're only 1 movement away from them.
That's true. How much bigger than me are they? Are the 2 that are...
They are medium, so the capacity...
Wrestling?
Yeah, the capacity for this area is 6. They're only medium, so
No,
it
I
is...
just mean that, like even if I
size-wise?
try to go and just kind of like these 2 bodies that are wrestling each other to just kind of like kick and shove them towards the door and kind of like herd the massive writhing limbs like away.
Okay. Well,
I'm too small to actually be able to do that.
well, so just
do it
for
together.
for the purposes of the game, one of them is a dwarf. They're kind of small, medium height with a big red beard. The other is a green-scaled dragonkin. They're medium, but they're thin. Now, yet, could you, with your size, push them out the door? Probably not. But could you kneecap them? Absolutely. I'm just saying.
I think I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna like have the eye conversation with Dr. Bloom about like we want to get him out. Okay, so then I'm gonna help. I'm gonna spend my effort. I'm gonna hold my action to spend my effort to help Dr. Bloom get them out. Does that make sense? I don't know if I said that correctly.
So you don't need to hold your action to help.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me double check this one quick, because I might be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, help does not require an action. It just requires 2 effort on the other person's turn.
Okay.
So you still have an action.
Are you wanting?
Sure, I'm gonna try to kneecap one of them so that they both go down, so it's easier for us to like just kind of start rolling them away and out.
Or smack him in the gavel, I will.
No, I dig it. Okay, so
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is you're going to roll to attack with your club. Since you're using this to do non-lethal damage, you're rolling a D8. Their defense is a 7.
Okay. Okay, I'm rolling a D8. and I'm trying to get below a 7.
Uh-huh. Or
You said?
above it. Yeah, below a 7. Below a 7.
I rolled a 7.
You rolled a 7.
Meets it, beats it.
I got to double check on that.
I don't know
one.
how it works with this system.
Yeah, let me double check just to be sure.
Yeah, it said right if the roll result is less or equal, it's successful.
Less or equal, so it's successful. So yes, a 7
Woo!
just hits.
Nice.
So you're gonna drop this person since you're kneecapping them. So describe for us how you jumped off the table and hit this person in the knees with your club.
Yeah. So I'm both soft-footed and stealthy. So I'm gonna kind of hop off the table, kind of roll between their legs, come up on the other side. Instead of going for like their kneecaps, I'm gonna whack them just in behind their knees and their knee pits.
Mm-hmm.
To collapse their legs out from under them so they don't have a choice but to hit the floor. Because it takes a lot less force to, like, get them from behind the joint than to, like, the kneecaps. I'm not trying to hurt them. I'm just trying to get them out.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Scare me, Alyssa.
You do this roll and you twist and smack them on the back of their kneecaps, and they have no choice. They just go down and land on their rump onto their legs in that perfect submissive pose. And then their hands just drop because they are unable to continue this fight. Well done. Dr. Bloom. You just saw that happen. That was fun. What do you do?
Well, I think that Dr. Bloom actually heard that happen. Their head whips back. I think the two people on the ground look scared as shit. My wings go really wide, and I'm like, can we be done now? Stop it, children. Let's...
I love it.
Can I roll an intimidation check?
You are absolutely rolling an intimidation check. This is going to be a D10. However, I feel like the number is good, so let's go with the 7 again, because that's intimidating as fuck.
I'm expending my effort to help you with that.
Hell yeah.
I'm just gonna loom and do the thing where, you know, like I twirl my baton and it goes around my hand kind of thing. Just like...
Love it. Love it. Go ahead and you get to roll 2d8. Or 2d10, I'm sorry.
Oh.
And then you're aiming for that 7 or higher.
10.
Or lower.
Lower. God damn it. Lower.
Or lower. Well, we got...
Yeah.
That is a 3, which is a success. The dwarf, after seeing the dragonborn, the green-scaled dragonborn, drop to their knees, sees you just looming with your wings outstretched, and he just kind of like stumbles backward, trips over a stool, and lands on their back, and you're like, I'm good, I give up. And with that, we are out of combat. Well done, everybody. You have successfully stopped the bar brawl at the Forest Bounty Inn. The people, they are kind of like, they have their hands raised. They're like, I'm good, I'm done. You see the sergeant walking in, and the sergeant is clapping their hands as they approach. Well done, well done. It's good to see that our new squad of guards are a capable bunch. You all clear out of here. Joyce, Greg, they nod to the two behind the bar. Make sure you send any charges for damages to these idiots. You all get back to your homes or back to your jobs. You know fighting in the tavern is prohibited. Get out of here. And you see the villagers kind of like, yeah, sorry, we give up. We're not going to fight anymore, and begin filing their way out of the tavern. The two that had been offered to get a beer, they do still kind of sit down at the bar and is like, yeah, give me a beer. And the bartender is like scowling at them and is like, I'm charging you more, you know it, and kind of getting irate at them. But you have managed to deal with, I suppose is the best way to put it, deal with this this minor infraction of the law here in Manos. So, how do you all feel now that you have cleared out the tavern and got a few licks in?
Dreezy like claps his hands together and goes, "Woo, yeah, that was light work."
The sergeant is nodding their head, and they say, well, you know now, some of you are definitely more capable than others. Private Boomy, you have a bit of work ahead of you. I don't know what it was you were trying to do on the floor there, but that sort of thing's not helpful in these situations at all.
Oh, everybody had to have socks on. That was in the handbook, right?
No, we don't care if they're wearing socks.
Oh, my bad.
Make
Glad to hear that that's not in the rule book, 'cause I don't wear shoes either, so...
everyone just looks over at Skarn and its bare feet.
It's hard to get shoes in a size 22.
What is Skarn wearing? Are you just wearing like a loincloth or something?
It's wearing the standard armor that we were given, but I think it
okay.
doesn't fit super well. It's like the bracers are just tied on its wrists because they don't fit very well.
Yeah, it was given the biggest size they had, and it was still too small.
Big thin problems. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The sergeant looks over at the bartender and says, bring us around. Come on over. And the bartender grabs 6 tankards, fills it with ale, walks it over to each of you as you all gather around the sergeant. The sergeant passes one to each of you and gives you a congratulatory nod and says, well, it won't be much longer before we head over to dinner, but before then, I think this first encounter is well deserving of one of these. You did good today. Well, most of you. And then they look directly at you, Boomy, and give you a scowl.
I bet they. I give him a little salute.
But ales are passed all around. You all clank them together and take a long draw as a celebration of your first day as town guards here, well, village guards in the village of Manos. So well done, everybody. Now, as we come to a close of this session, as always, we're going to go around the table and have everybody introduce themselves, tell us who they are, and where we can find you on the internet. Dreezy, I feel like you are definitely the first one we're going to today. So tell us who you are.
Dreezy F. Boomy. But in real life, you can call me Coins, and you can find me at Devil Fetish on any social media.
Right on. Nico, you're next.
Hi everyone. I am the fluffiest owl you'll ever see, Dr. Ezra Bloom. My real
Fancy
name
foul.
Fantasy Fowl. Grumpy
God,
Space Owl
that's
Dad.
perfect.
Honestly, I might use that. But you can find me on social media as Static Blue Stray.
Right on. Joe, you're next.
Well, I am Joe, and I am playing Zolos campaign. You can find me every other Wednesday. In fact, this Wednesday, the 17th, playing Corwin Oliver Goodwood in Sonnet of Blood, our Curse of Strahd campaign. And then the 29th, we will be doing our wrap-up episode for our previous campaign, where you get to see Blood from his Stone one more time. Or is it the 29th?
22nd.
No, it's
22nd.
22nd? Oh, so it is next week.
Monday.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
next Monday.
All right. So I thought we were. All right. So are we going to play like 3 weeks in a row then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Again?
you,
All
you
right,
two are.
shit.
Or
Never
you
mind.
three are.
All right. Yeah. All right. Never mind. Next Monday, we are going to be doing our wrap up for our Fab 5 campaign, where I get to be Blood from Stone one more time. And that is my Twitter handle, is Blood from Stone.
Right on. Nobody, you're next.
Absolutely. So you can find me at Nobody Adams on Blue Sky. That's 2 Ds, like the Adams family. And I'm in a bunch of other places. On the first and fourth Saturday of the month, I play games for All on the Table, which is a trans and non-binary focused actual play system. Do all sorts of games all over there. And then I also have 2 weekly podcasts. Us Weirdos Have to Stick Together, which is about queer representation in cartoons, and The X-Files, which is a book-by-book reread of every single Animorphs book in order.
It's crazy. Love it. Okay, Alyssa, you're next.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. You can find me on Instagram at Alyssa Crochets. Hit me up. I make cute things like this little cactus. I call her Carmilla.
That's
As
adorable.
well as nerdy things like my little Star Wars buddies. Yeah. Other than that, you can find me here on Random Rhapsody. With for one last chapter with the Fab Five, and here with our shanty folk. But yeah, and maybe some point this year with Bard Rock Cafe. We'll see.
Never know. Right on. Well, I am Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and GM here on the network. You can always find me every Monday and Wednesday here on both Twitch and YouTube, where we're streaming now consecutively. That's a lot of fun. You can also find me along with Nobody over on All on the Tables, TTRPG content. I do it every second and fourth Saturday as well. And other than that, I'm kind of all over the place. I am on Lost Caravan RPG on the 28th playing Pathfinder. So come check that out. That'll be fun. We're playing a level 15 campaign, or not campaign, one shot. So you know I'm going to be ridiculous AF when I'm doing that. Other than
Are you going to bring celery back?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided the character I'm going to play. But no matter who I play, it's going to be fun. Other than that, Random Rhapsody now has a Patreon. If you want to help support this show, you can go on to Patreon and become a supporter that way. Other great ways to support us is either to follow, subscribe, hit the bell, give us a like, anything that you can to help support the show. We very much appreciate it, even if it's just something as simple as a comment on one of our games. We always upload these shows onto YouTube as the archive of our overall network. So you want to go and check out our previous content, which is the Fab 5 campaign, the Debauchery Circus campaign, plus we have a whole host of other shows that we're doing now. So there's tons of content to check out. But yeah, so on behalf of everyone here in the Æther-Shanties crew and everyone with Random Rhapsody, I just want to say thank you, folks. It's been a delight. So long. Good luck. And until next time, may the winds ever fill your sails. friends. And good night.
Night.
Bye.